by beginning by expressing our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Hey.
Okay, so what did we see in the previous class? We finished section 2. So in section 2, we saw how Krishna has now concluded his argument where he is defeating Arjuna's compassion, reason, not to fight. So this section is titled as Jnana, and here Krishna has given him the knowledge of the difference between the body and the soul. So he's telling Arjuna that your compassion is for the body, your compassion is only on the materialistic platform, and how the body dies, but the soul never dies. So we concluded section 2 last time. We saw one story, right? We saw the story of him in the video. Ajamila. Yes, we saw the story of Ajamila. Okay, so today we will start with section 3. The section 3, we will see something called as a yoga ladder. We will begin with the yoga ladder understanding. And here in this section, Krishna defeats Arjuna's enjoyment argument. Now, this section is based on karma. The previous section was jnana. Now, Krishna is speaking on karma. And this karma is considered to be a less elevated principle than jnana, if you like to say that way. But why Krishna is speaking a less elevated principle now is because he is defeating Arjuna's arguments in the same sequence in which Arjuna expressed his concerns. Okay, and because Arjuna's enjoyment factor was materialistic, Krishna is also defeating him by giving him a materialistic perspective and telling him that yes, if you fight because you're a Kshatriya, and even if you die on the battlefield, you will ascend heaven. So ascending heaven is still materialistic because it is in the material world. Heavenly planets are in the material world. Heavenly planets are not in the spiritual world. So we will see that section today beginning with 31. So do we have the two brothers, the two Kasturi brothers with us? Aditya Kasturi, are you there?
Yes, Mataji. Sorry, I couldn't unmute for some reason.
And your brother? Where is your brother?
Varun, are you there? Yeah, he's there.
He's here. Okay. So who's going to read the translations and who's going to read the other text?
I can read the translations.
So who was that I? Because both spoke simultaneously. I don't know who spoke what.
I can read the translations.
Okay, so Aditya is going to read the translations and Varun is going to read the other text. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Do you remember your promise?
What?
Yeah.
Do you remember your promise from the previous class?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to speak slower, right?
Ah, yes. Thank you so much. Okay. Please repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Devaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, let's read this.
Varun?
Yeah.
Read.
Karma. Yeah. Karma kanda consciousness. By performing prescribed duties, gain material enjoyment, material gains, heaven or kingdom from fighting, material losses, infamy and sin from not fighting.
So what is this Karma Kanda consciousness? Karma Kanda consciousness means we are engaging in activities under the shelter of Shastra, but my aim is only my own sense gratification. That is Karma Kanda. And what do we gain by that? What does Arjuna gain from that? Krishna says, you will either gain heaven if you die on the battlefield, and even if you live, then you can enjoy this kingdom. So that is the material gain and material loss. Krishna says that if you don't fight the war, you will go through, you will face infamy, you will become infamous and you will accrue sin. So this is the section we are going to see today. So before we understand the duties of a Kshatriya, we have to understand a little bit about Varnashram Dharma. The word Varnashram is a combination of two words, Varna plus Ashrama. Varna is a division of the society based on one's work, and Ashrama is a division based on the stage of life that one belongs to. Now there are 4 Varnas and there are 4 Ashramas. And Krishna later on we will see, he says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the one who has introduced this system. Okay, this is the original caste system. The society previously was not divided into castes like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism. It was not divided into any ism, but it was divided on the Varna and the Ashrama system. So what are the 4 Varnas? The 4 Varnas are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So as I said, the society was divided on the kind of work one did. So Brahmanas are the teachers. They are the priests of the society. Kshatriyas are the warrior class. Vaishyas are the merchants, farmers, herders, or the modern so-called businessman, you can say. And Shudras are the working class. Okay. So these 4, when one does his duty to perfection, then the needs of the other Varnas are automatically met. That's the idea of this entire Varnashram system. If a Brahmin does his duty to perfection, then the needs of the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras are met. If the Shudra does his work to perfection, then the needs of Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmanas are met. Like that, each Varna, when he does his duty to perfection, then the needs of the other 3 Varnas are automatically met by default. So these are the 4 Varnas. And what are the 4 ashramas? The 4 ashramas are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas, the 4 stages of life. So Brahmachari is the student life, Grihastha is the married life, Vanaprastha is retired life, and Sannyas is the renounced order, the renounced life. Because the average life expectancy at the beginning of Kali Yuga was 100 years, one was expected to live 25 years as a student and then spend the next 25 years as a married person, the next 25 years as a retired person, and the last 25 years in the renounced order. This was the division of the life orders or the stages of life. So there are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. Together they are called as the Varnashram system. Now, right up till the previous yuga, this Varnashram system was very strictly followed in the sense that if one was born in a Brahmin family, then he would do the duties of a Brahmin. If one is born in a Kshatriya family, he would do the duties of a Kshatriya. There were a few rare exceptions where somebody was not a Brahmin and did the job of a Kshatriya. So there are a few exceptions here and there, but broadly speaking, this was strictly followed. That's why Karna in the Mahabharata, he faced so much opposition when he wanted to fight like a Kshatriya, because externally people thought that he is the son of a Suta, no, the carpenter class. And therefore he faced opposition when he wanted to fight like a Kshatriya. So you can see why, because this Varnashram system was very strictly followed. The reason why it was strictly followed is because previously people followed the samskaras or the ceremonies. What do you call? Like what's the final ceremony one does is the Antim Samskar. No? When a person dies, then we do the Antim Samskar. Like that, there are various samskaras that we do during the lifetime. And Garbhadana Samskara is a samskara that is done before the woman conceives, right? Before a man and woman unite to have a child, then they do the Garbhadana Samskara. This Garbhadana Samskara helps to attract a particular kind of soul in the womb of the mother. So it was only natural that a Brahmin would want a Brahmin child. A Kshatriya most definitely wants his child to be a very great Kshatriya. So like that, because they did the Garbhadana Samskara, they could attract a particular kind of soul in the body. And therefore, the soul that is born in a Kshatriya family is because he had Kshatriya tendencies coming from the previous lifetime. So one who is born in a Brahmin family is expected to do what a Brahmin does, and so on and so forth for all the four Varnas. But then we will see this statement by Narada Muni this is a part of the Mahabharata, but this quote is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see what he says. Let's read this.
Okay. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification.
So what is Narada Muni saying here? Narada Muni is saying that even if somebody is not born in a particular Varna, but he shows the symptoms of that Varna, then he should be accepted. Why? Because when did Narada Muni speak this? This was just when Kali Yuga was about to commence, right? This is the end of Dwapara Yuga. And we very well know that in Kali Yuga, the system has become corrupted, because now people are not doing those samskaras the way they would do in the previous ages. So therefore, this Varnashram system is corrupted in Kali Yuga. And therefore, he said that if one is has symptoms of another Varna, but he is born in another Varna, then he should be accepted. Can you identify the characters on the screen?
No, I
Krishna?
can't.
Yes, Krishna is sitting on the throne. Krishna is sitting on the throne.
Narad Muni
Narada Muni,
with
yes.
the instrument.
Yes,
And
he's, yes.
Yudhishthira.
Yudhishthira, yes, that's Yudhishthira. So what is the occasion? Can anyone identify this famous occasion from the Mahabharata? What's going on?
I think this is the Rajasuya Yajna that they performed.
Exactly, the Rajasuya Yajna. So this Rajasuya Yajna was performed by Yudhishthira, and this Rajasuya Yajna established Yudhishthira as the emperor of the planet, and all other kings had accepted the dominance of Yudhishthira over them. So that's why this Rajasuya Yajna was very, very significant. And in this Rajasuya Yajna, the most respectable person is given or is worshipped in what is called as the Agra Puja. And they selected Krishna to be the one to receive this Agra Puja. So they chose Krishna as the most elevated personality in that assembly. But then there was someone who, this is of course a side note, it's out of the syllabus, but just for the sake of knowing, who was envious of Krishna and opposed to Krishna being worshipped as the most respected.
Shishupal.
Shishupal, yeah. Shishupal was killed by Krishna in this assembly, isn't it? So when Shishupal was killed, Yudhishthira saw how Shishupal's soul left Shishupal's body and went into Krishna's body. So Yudhishthira was surprised what has happened, and then he asks Narada what has happened, and then there is a conversation between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira, and this sentence that Narada Muni spoke is a part of that conversation, just to give you a background. Okay, let's read this thing about the Varnashram system.
Okay. The social body. The Varnasram system may be compared to a social body. The Brahmanas with their knowledge to direct society can be compared to the head, eyes, and brain of the social body. Kshatriyas who offer protection are the arms. The Vaishyas who support the society are the stomach. And the Shudras are the legs. Common sense tells us that we need our head even more than we need our arms and legs. Because without the head, the entire body is useless. So the Brahmanas are the most important because of the guidance they provide. Yet without the labor of the Shudras, the legs, society would not get anywhere. Without the support of the Vaishyas, the Brahmanas would be unable to devote their time to teaching and studying. And without protection and land from the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas could not carry out their occupation of providing for society. But when each part of the social body performs its proper function, then the entire society can be peaceful and cooperative and can concentrate on its real goal, Krishna consciousness.
So the Brahmins are considered to be the head of the society, the brains, right? Because they are the teachers. Kshatriyas are the warrior class, so they are compared to the arms. Vaishyas to the stomach, and Shudras to the legs of the society. Now, we need our legs as much as we need our arms, as much as we need our stomach, as much as we need our head. There would be nobody who would say that, yes, it's okay if I don't have my legs, I can do without my legs, isn't it? So all four are equally important for the smooth working of the society. In a perfect Varnashram system, all four are equally important. Okay, so much for the Varnashram system. Now let's begin with 2.31.
I have a question.
Yes.
So can you go back to the pyramid, the design? So if you say that they're considered equal, no, this analogy makes more sense to me than the previous one, than the previous slide. That was like a pyramid. No, sorry, the previous one. Back this one. Because when I look at this slide, I see a pyramid where the priests are on the top, the warriors are in the middle, then the Vaishyas, and then the Sudras. So when I see this, immediately my mind says, okay, then the priests are the most important ones.
The Brahmins or the priests are the most respectable ones. The Brahmins were always more respected than the Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Even the Kshatriya king would wash the feet of a Brahmin when he would receive a Brahmin as a guest in his kingdom. In that sense, yes, Brahmins are more respectable, right? But then Shudras are as important for the smooth working of the society. That's the idea.
But if we are all equal, we should all be respected equally.
Equal in the sense that everybody's role means you cannot say that I can do without my legs. We need the Shudras in the society as much as we need the Brahmins. We cannot eliminate the Shudras or the working class completely, and the Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya live comfortably, because then that part of the needs of the other three classes are not met in the absence of one class. So the all four are important in the sense that their working is required. But so the Shudra's feet were not washed by a Kshatriya when a Shudra visited a Kshatriya. But when a Brahmin visited a Kshatriya, his feet were washed. Even Krishna has washed the feet of Brahmins. That's why the pyramid.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start 231.
Swadharmamapi chaveksha na vikampitumarhasi dharmyadhiyuddhat shreyonyad kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Translation, please.
Aditya.
I'm not able to unmute. For some reason it's weird. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation.
So what Krishna is saying here, that because it's your duty, it is your swadharma. Swadharma means it is your own duty as a Kshatriya to fight. Here, swadharma does not mean that I have to promote my own religion. Sometimes people misunderstand this shloka and they say that swadharma means my own religion. But no, here swadharma means he's talking about his duties. So he's telling Arjuna that it is your own duty as a Kshatriya to fight. And here you have got this opportunity. There is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. Because for a Kshatriya, his duty is to fight, and this is a dharma, this is a war to establish religiosity. Like this is a dharma war. It's a war on religious principles. So therefore, this opportunity has come to him. There cannot be anything better for a Kshatriya. Therefore, you should not hesitate. So he's saying that this is Shreyas. Remember, we saw the two concepts of Shreyas and Preyas. So here he's saying that this is Shreyas for you. Fighting this war for you is Shreyas. It will bring you long-term benefit. It is not Preyas. It is not something that will give you only short-term benefit. So yes, of course, although Krishna is saying that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, that doesn't mean that a Kshatriya is always looking for opportunities to fight. War has to be, of course, avoided at all costs. But Prabhupada explains in the purports that fighting is necessary sometimes to establish peace. Now, let's say Arjuna or Krishna said that there has to be peace. This war should not take place, right? And the war was avoided. Arjuna did not fight. What would have happened? Duryodhana would have been crowned king. And with Duryodhana as the king, there is going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of violence, and a lot of unrest in the kingdom. But because this war was fought and Yudhishthira was crowned king, later there was peace. So sometimes war is necessary to establish peace. It cannot be avoided. But as far as possible, war should be avoided. But in circumstances where it cannot be avoided, then it has to be fought to establish peace. So Krishna himself went as a peace messenger before the war, isn't it? He personally went. And what did he ask for? He asked for just 5 villages. And he said, you give me 5 villages and this war will not take place. But what did Duryodhana say in reply? Does anybody know the answer?
Not even like a piece of, I don't know, not even like a needle,
Yeah.
of land.
Correct. Not even that amount of land that can be covered with the point of a needle, he said. Even that much land I will not give. That was Duryodhana's answer. Okay. So here Krishna is talking about Arjuna fulfilling his material duties, Swadharma. But we also have something called as our spiritual duty. And we have to conduct both. We have to do both, material and spiritual. One cannot say that I will do my material duty, but I will not do my spiritual, or I will do my spiritual duty, so therefore I don't have to fulfill my material duties. No, we have to do both material and spiritual duties. Both of them have to be harmonizingly synchronized. So this word Kshatriya is made up of 2 words, Shat and Trayate. Shat means harm, like we say, no, Shati. Shati means harm. Somebody tries to harm me, so we say Shati, like that. So Kshatriya means Shat plus Trayate. Trayate means give protection. So we see how The Kshatriyas are expected, it is their duty to protect the citizens. Let us read this translation only.
The Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world.
So a Kshatriya is supposed to fight, and therefore a Kshatriya was allowed to go to the forest and hunt down the wild animals. It was a part of his training, right? And also because he has to protect the citizens from being attacked by the wild animals. Therefore, the Kshatriyas were allowed to hunt the wild animals. So people sometimes question, why is it that the kings are allowed to go and kill, and we are not allowed to kill animals? So this is the reason. Okay, so we have seen in our histories also how the kings would go out of their way to protect any entity, not only human beings, but any entity who seeks protection of the king. The king would do anything to protect the entity that has taken shelter of the king. So here we have the story of King Shibi, who offered his own flesh to protect a pigeon. This pigeon flew and asked protection from the king, from the eagle that wanted to eat the pigeon. So the king told the eagle that I can give you another flesh. So he said, no, give me your flesh, which is equal to the weight of the pigeon. And the king started to cut his own body parts, but nothing would equal the weight of the pigeon, because actually they were Indra and Agni who had come to test the king. So you can see how Shibi went out of his way. He was cutting his own body parts to protect the pigeon that was seeking the shelter of him. And also from the Mahabharata, when Yudhishthir and his brothers and Draupadi, they left the kingdom and they walked up the Himalayas. Each of them fell down one after the other. Finally, it was Yudhishthir who got to the top. And then Indra came on a chariot and wanted to take him to heaven. But then Yudhishthir said that this dog has been accompanying me, has seek my protection. He has been accompanying me from the beginning, and I cannot, the dog will also come along with me. And Indra said that I cannot allow you to take the dog. And then Yudhishthir said that in that case, even I cannot go, I cannot abandon this dog. So again, a Kshatriya does not abandon. It is his duty to protect his citizens, and also to protect anybody who is seeking their protection. 32.
यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
Translation.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
So here Krishna is saying that actually this opportunity has come your way without you seeking out for it. Usually one has to go to the heavenly planets, one has to do extraordinary punya, extraordinarily good karma. When you do a lot of punya, then we can get to go to the heavenly planets. But here Arjuna has got this opportunity without seeking out for it. This opportunity has come his way. So he's saying that you are very fortunate that this opportunity has come to you and it has opened the doors of the heavenly planets. So as I said here, Krishna is not talking about a higher reality. He's not talking about attaining Vaikuntha, attaining Goloka, spiritual realm. He's still talking only on the material platform, because Arjuna wanted to enjoy. So he's saying, yes, you can still enjoy. You can go to the heavenly planets and enjoy if you fight the war. So let's try to understand a little bit about this structure. But before that, material understanding is survival of the fittest. One who is fit, one who's stronger, that person survives, right? But the spiritual understanding is sacrifice by the fittest. So because the Kshatriyas are fit, they were expected to sacrifice more and to protect more than the others. That's the spiritual understanding. And that's the reason why even now in the COVID period, we see how the doctors and the nurses and anybody in the medical field, they are glorified more, right? Because they are qualified, they are the ones who are expected to sacrifice more. So that's a higher understanding, isn't it? So sacrifice by the fittest is a spiritual understanding. Of course, materialistic way of thinking is survival of the fittest. Okay, now let's try to understand a little bit about this whole structure to understand more about these heavenly planets. Now, as we've discussed previously, Mahavishnu is breathing and he's creating universes. Now, within each universe, we have 14 planetary systems. Mahavishnu is Krishna's first expansion in the material world. Then Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakashai Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakashai Vishnu, what springs out? What grows? What comes out?
Brahma.
A lotus, yes.
Lotus.
So this green stem that you see is the stem of the lotus. In the middle of the picture, you can see the green stem. That green stem is coming from the navel of Garbhodakashai Vishnu. And in that stem, we have 14 planetary systems. So the topmost planet in the material world is Satyaloka, or the abode of Lord Brahma, or it's also called as Brahma Loka. And the lowest is the Patala Loka. Where are we situated? We are situated in the middle, Bhur Loka, right? And Swarga Loka is what here Krishna is talking about. He's saying that if you fight the war and if you die, then you will ascend to heaven. So Krishna is talking about sending him to Swarga Loka, or the heavenly planet. We have to understand that these 14 planetary systems, all these are existing still only in the material world. Heavenly planets does not mean that we are in the spiritual world. So here we can see how this universe that we saw is one out of millions, because Mahavishnu is breathing and we can see there are many bubbles. Each bubble is here representing one universe, and within each universe there are these 14 planetary systems, and within each of that bubble we have our own Brahma and our own Garbhodakashai Vishnu.
Can you go back to no to see so Burloka would be Earth.
Yes, Burloka, it's a planetary system and Earth is there.
And all of the planets are in this Bhur Loka, right? Like what we
Planet.
call as Mercury and all that.
Earthly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the planets that are below Earth, they are called as a subterranean heavenly planets. They are not suffering planets, okay? There is sense gratification even in the lower planetary system. Even Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, there is sense enjoyment. In fact, there is more sense enjoyment in the subterranean heavenly planets than there are in the higher planetary systems. But in the lower planetary systems, there is no piety. There is piety or piousness in the higher planetary systems. So Prabhupada explains how in the lower planetary system, there is no disturbance for the sense gratification of the residents of these lower planetary systems. Sometimes, of course, even in the Swarga Loka, even the demigods, even their sense gratification is sometimes disturbed, right? So sometimes they are attacked, there is some disturbance, but in the lower planetary system, there is no disturbance to their sense gratification.
Mataji, can you please explain the Maharloka and Tapoloka? Who lives there?
Maharloka, okay, Maharloka, I'm not very sure. Tapoloka, there are sages who are undergoing austerities, tapasya. And Janaloka is the loka where the Sapta Rishis, the 7 stages, they reside there. So Maharloka, let me do a quick search and see if I can find. Radhika Kasturi, do you know the answer to this? Are you there?
And Mataji, if you can also give some background on this Bhuvar Loka.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, this is explained in great detail in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam. Okay, it says that the yogis, they attain the planet of Maharloka, where purified saints like Brigu enjoy a long duration of life, like 4,300 million solar years. This planet is worshipable even for the saints who are transcendently situated. So it is indicated that the residents of Maharloka, where the purified living entities or demigods possess a duration calculated to be 4,300 million solar years, have airships by which they reach Satyaloka, the topmost planet of the universe. So that's some information about Maharloka. Okay.
Thank you.
So Burloka, or the earthly planetary system, is the only place where we can accumulate karma. In the higher and lower planetary system, we are only using up or burning up the karma that we have accumulated in the Burloka or in the earthly planetary systems. So it's like when we go for a job, our workplace is the only place where we are making money, right? But the higher and lower planetary systems is like when we go on a vacation. When we go on a vacation, then we are only using up the money that we have earned in our workplace. So Burloka is the earthly planetary system is the place where we are accumulating karma, whether good or bad, whatever it is, but we are accumulating karma. In the higher and lower planetary systems, we are only using it up, burning up. There is no question of accumulating karma in the higher or in the lower planetary systems.
Mataji, this may be, I don't know how much relevant to the class, but as a person passes away, leaves like, bodily stuff, right? Have they given any information in Bhagavatam that they go through all of these different dimensions or lokas?
Yeah, where they go in the 14 planetary system depends on what kind of karma they have. Okay. So see, we can see Patala Loka here, right? The last planetary system here in the 14 is Patala.
That's right.
So you can see here in that bubble, below Patala, below the last planetary system, we have their Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu in the Garbhodaka ocean. Yes. Now somewhere between the Garbhodaka ocean and Patala Loka are what we call as Pitra Loka and also the hellish planets. Pitra Loka, who is residing in the Pitra Loka? Yamaraj resides there, and it's like a court where the judgment is passed. So depending on the activities of that soul, we saw how Ajamila was about to be taken by the Yamadutas. So the Yamadutas, when they take the sinful souls, they take them first to Pitra Loka, to Yamaraj, where the judgment is passed. Now, depending on the activities of that person, then the judgment is passed that, okay, where in this 14 planetary system this person is going to go and for what period of time. If he has extraordinary punya, then he can enjoy for a long period in the heavenly planets. But if he has been very, very sinful, then he has to go to the hellish planets for a certain period of time, depending on, again, how deep or how far was his sin or how good was his punya. So if we earn a lot of money, then we can go on an extended vacation. But now what is the problem? Even if we go on an extended, for an extended period of time, if we are in the heavenly planets, at some point, the credit is going to run out because we cannot accumulate more credit, right? So at some point it's going to run out. And when the credit runs out, we have to again come back to Burloka. So the vacation in Hawaii may be great, but at some point the money is going to run out and I have to come back to my house. That's the reason, that's the problem with even going to the heavenly planets, that at some point we have to come back.
Okay.
This might be like a vague question, but like, what do you do there?
What do we do there? We do where? If we are in the heavenly planets, we have unlimited facility for sense gratification. There is wine, there is women, there are men with great bodies like Indra. We have unlimited facility for sense gratification, and there, to engage in our senses, we don't have to take any karmic, because it's given to us like an award, a reward for our good, for our punya karmas.
Can
Mata,
we...
can-
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Shreya, you go ahead. I can ask later. Sorry.
Just a quick question. Like, so when we say like sense gratification, it means sleeping, eating, mating, and defending. Just that four?
Yeah, that and whatever else we want to enjoy.
Okay. So
So
other
remember
than...
when Arjuna went to heaven, right? There was Urvashi who wanted to unite with him, but he said that I cannot do this because Arjuna says it's against the rules and regulations. But what does Urvashi say? Urvashi says, but in our loka, it is permitted. It is not sinful, because in heavenly planets, you have the license to enjoy. It is given to you as a reward.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Mehek?
Mataji, can you go to the previous slide?
Yeah.
Of the 14? Yeah. So here the Bhuvarloka mentions that who resides in Bhuvarloka are Rakshasas and ghosts. So how come they are at an elevated planetary system than us?
Because Rakshasas and ghosts can also do austerities, no? Ravan was a demon, but he did so much austerity. Hiranyakashipu was a demon, but he did so much austerity. So even they can do austerities, they can also do punya karmas, and they can go to an elevated planet.
But why are they one dimension ahead of us?
Ahead of us.
Yeah, like it's like, are they better than us, kind of a thing?
No, they are there because they have got that as a reward. We are here because we have already used our credits and now we have again come back to earth. So it's like, it's not that they are, we go up and down in the 14 planetary systems. It's changing continuously. When these Rakshasas and the ghosts, when they finish their credits, then they again have to come to Burloka, and we may get elevated to Tapoloka, Satyaloka. But the idea is not to get elevated to Satyaloka, Tapoloka, Janaloka. Our idea is to go beyond these 14 planetary systems and attain the spiritual realm. But it's like entities are moving from one to the other. It's not that A, B, C, D. It's not like that. Somebody who is in Satyaloka may come to Burloka. Somebody who's in Burloka may go to Satyaloka. So entities are moving in the 14 planetary systems. Okay. Can we proceed?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's try to understand what is the size. Now you can see this one universe, this one bubble has some outer coverings, like a rainbow. If you see to the left-hand side, there are some outer coverings of the universe. And then the inner circle is where the 14 planetary systems are. So the Bhagavatam tells us that this inner circle is 4 billion miles in diameter. Let's read this. Varun, are you there?
Okay, Mataji, I'll just read it. Well, I don't know if he's there. The total diameter of the universe is approximately 500 million yojanas, or 4 billion miles. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.21.1 and Srimad Bhagavatam 5.23.9. The first covering is earth. The second is water. The third is fire. The fourth is air. And the fifth is sky. The sixth is the total material energy. And the seventh is false ego. Beginning with the covering of earth, each covering is 10 times greater than the previous one. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.16.37.
Okay, so here Radhika Kasturi has answered the question. She has written in the chat that as far as ghosts, they are subtler and powerful than us, therefore they are above. Demigods are more powerful than the ghosts. Rishis are more powerful than demigods. They get subtler as they go above. So this is the hierarchy. I was not aware of this. Let's go back again. So as they go higher, they get subtler. And she says the ghosts are more powerful than us, therefore they are above us. Demigods are above the ghosts because the demigods are more powerful. And then rishis are more, the sages are more powerful than the demigods, so therefore the rishis are higher. So as they go higher, they get more and more subtler, is what Radhika Kasturi has written in the. And then she says, then Brahma is the most powerful. But again, and his body is made of ether. Brahma's body is made of ether, so his body is the subtlest. Okay. So if somebody is in the body of a demigod, he can later come down to get the body on Burloka, on the earthly planets, or no?
Maybe.
Yes.
Does it only go upward, or can there can be a mix and match?
Right? Yeah, there are, I think, instances where some of them had got cursed and had to come to earth.
Okay. Okay, so anyway, thank you, Radhika Mataji, for your answer. That's the reason why.
On the ghost thing, right? And I understand it may be a subtler, right? But Rakshasas, I understand to some extent, but say in terms of ghosts, where it's like, they are kind of, say for example, right? Somebody gives up life without going through the natural process, like naturally passing away. Such people who become ghosts, they go to Bhuvar Loka. And how are they like, better than, because they are not considered to be good, right?
Okay, Radhika Kasturi Mataji, you want to answer?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
So, Mataji, this is in terms of power and not consciousness. As you can see, they are not evolving in consciousness. I'm just talking about their power. So the ghost body doesn't have a gross body. It just has a subtle body. So when they have a subtle body, it has a lot of power. They have power to even go into another gross body and occupy them. So that way, and then they can make that person act in a way they want. So that much power they have. That is what is being exhibited here. We are just talking about the power, but not consciousness. In terms of consciousness, it's obviously, the ghosts and rakshasas are in the mode of ignorance, tamo. Hope it made sense, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you for clarifying that, because I somehow was not like, how do, like, they're considered bad, and how do they get to be, like,
Absolutely, Mataji. This is not in terms of consciousness. If you
Got
look
it.
at Bharat Maharaj, if you look at Bharat Maharaj, even though he was in a deer's body, he had evolved consciousness. So it's different. And so we're not talking about consciousness here, but power.
Got it, Mataji. Thank you for clarifying. That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. The total diameter of the universe is approximately 500 million yojanas, or 4 million. Wait, Mataji, I already read this part.
Yeah, Aditya, continue. Continue, Maru.
What number is that? That's 4 billion. 4 billion miles. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.21.1 and Srimad Bhagavatam 5.23.9. The covering is earth. The second is water. A third is fire. The fourth is air, and the fifth is sky. The sixth is a total material energy, and the seventh is a false ego. Beginning with the covering of the earth, each covering is 10 times greater than the previous one. SB Srimad Bhagavatam 6.16.37.
Okay. So we see that there are different coverings, and each covering is 10 times thicker than the previous covering. So like that, if you calculate Bhumandala, or the inner universe that we saw, that is 4 billion miles in diameter. And then we have these coverings of the earth, water, fire, air, ether, then the Mahatattva, or the total material energy, and the false layer. So when you calculate each one 10 times thicker than the previous one, then at the end of it, we see that the Brahmand, or the entire, that entire universe, that egg that we saw, is 44 quadrillion, 444 trillion, 444 billion miles in diameter. So it's a staggering, huge size, yes. But actually, this universe, our universe, is the smallest of all. How do we know that? We know that from this pastime. This pastime is being narrated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And this was a time when Lord Brahma goes to Dwarka to visit Krishna. And then when Brahma is asked, who are you? He says, I'm Brahma. And then he is asked, which Brahma? Which Brahma are you? So then Brahma says, what do you mean, which Brahma? I am Brahma, the creator. And then Krishna summons Brahmas from all other universes there on the spot. And then our four-headed Brahma sees Brahma with other Brahmas with millions and millions of heads. Yes. And at that time, Krishna says, what does Krishna say? Let's read.
Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 21.84 translation. Krishna said, their particular universe has a diameter of 4 billion miles. Therefore, it's the smallest of the universes. Consequently, you have only 4 heads.
So the number of heads that Lord Brahma has depends upon the size of the universe. And this universe size that we just saw, the staggering amount, that is the size of the smallest universe. So we can see how big the entire, and this is only the material world. A material world is only 1/4 of the spiritual realm. So that's why we say that this knowledge is achintya, right? And amongst those millions of universes, our universe is the smallest. In that smallest universe, there are 14 planetary systems. In those 14 planetary systems, we are in the middle. There is one planet called Earth. In that Earth, we belong to one country. In that one country, we are in one city. And in that one city, when we own a small apartment, then we become very proud of our belongings, isn't it? But when we see the grandeur of Krishna, then we realize how small and how insignificant we are. So here you have a picture. Now again, you have that 14 planetary system, the one universe, the one bubble. You have the Karana ocean, but beyond that, we see above is the spiritual realm. We have discussed how the spiritual realm is the form of a lotus, and then we have the Vaikuntha planets. Our idea is not to attain the heavenly planets. Our idea is to go beyond and attain the spiritual realm. So here we have seen, we have discussed this before, how Mahavishnu is Krishna's first expansion in the material world, but before him, there are other expansions. So Krishna's first expansion is Balaram. From Balaram, we have the four quadruple expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Then from Sankarshan, we have Narayan. From Narayan, we have the second quadruple expansions. And then from the second quadruple expansion comes Mahavishnu. And it is this Mahavishnu who's an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of Krishna, who is breathing all those huge universes.
Mataji, I had a question here. So in the previous slide, when we talked about Brahma, Mata Saraswati is a consort of Lord Brahma, right? So each of these different Brahmas, is it like, I don't know if they speak about that in any scriptures, but is it similar to what we have for our universe?
The other Brahmas in the other universes?
Yep.
Yeah, every Brahma in every universe is the creator of that universe. He has the same role to play as the creator.
So similarly, does Mata Sharda Devi also exist?
Saraswati, yes, yes. She exists as his consort. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So if we say like our universe is the smallest, then people living in other universes would also feel the same, right?
Yeah, we have 8,400,000 bodies, and there are 400,000 human bodies. In our planet, we see the Homo sapiens, but in the other universes, there are other kinds of bodies. So there is no place where the soul does not exist. No, we saw that the soul exists everywhere. So in all the planetary systems, all the universes, there are living entities. There are living entities even on the sun planet.
Right. So even there, like the Brahma would be like four-headed, or there would be different, like.
No, the other Brahmas have more heads because the other universes are bigger. Our Brahma is the smallest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Mataji, one more, last one. So in the in the lower planetary or like the lower dimensions that we had Atala, Vitala, Patala, Talatala. So would they have similar bodies to us, like us?
Yeah, no, depends. They may be Rakshas bodies. There are other kinds of living entities.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you can see here the spiritual realm. You have the lotus and you have the Vaikuntha lokas. And then we have the abode of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is between the material and the spiritual realms. Then we can see the difference. The Viraja river is flowing between the material and the spiritual realms. Now, on this side of the Viraja river is our material manifestation, where Mahavishnu is lying down and he's creating universes. So that's called as a Karana ocean, where Mahavishnu is lying. It's called as a Karana ocean. That's why he's called as the Karana Dakashai Vishnu. And then the ocean where Garbhodakashai Vishnu is lying, that is called as a Garbhodaka ocean. So every universe has its Garbhodakashai Vishnu and has its Brahma. But there is only one Mahavishnu. Okay.
Oh, Mataji, just if you could go back to the previous slide, please. So there is also Lord Shiva's abode at the edge of the Viraja river, right?
Yes.
Is that in this, like, is it in the Bhuloka or is it in the higher planetary systems?
No, Burloka is within one universe. Remember, Burloka is within that one bubble in the 14 planetary system. But now we have come out of that one universe. We have come out of all the universes. And now Lord Shiva is lying between the spiritual and the material worlds. Burloka is much below, down. If you see down, you can see one universe there, the title.
Yes, one universe, yes.
Yeah, so that is one universe, and within that one universe is the 14 planetary systems that we saw previously in a bigger picture. But now this is beyond that one universe, beyond those bubbles, beyond the material realm, and between the material and the spiritual realm is where is the abode of Lord Shiva.
Yeah, because we have, like, the general conception is that, at least I have, is, Lord Shiva resides in, Kailash mountain.
Yeah, it's written the Kailasha. If you see above where Brahmajyoti is written, above that is written Kailasha. Can you see that?
Not really, Mataji.
Okay, let me come out of the PPT and I will show you only the picture. 1 second. Can you see now?
Oh, yes, Mataji.
So here you have Golok Vrindavan. Okay. Now there in the boundary of Goloka, you have Mathura, Dwarka, and Ayodhya Dham. This is all spiritual realm. So even in the spiritual realm, where a person goes depends on what he desires and what he deserves. And then we have the first quadruple expansion, which we discussed before. Then here you have Vaikuntha Loka, where you have all the Narayan expansions. So you can see Lord Narasimha Dev is here. There is one planet of Kurma avatar. Then you have here Matsya. Here you have Varaha. So all these are there in the, and you have Parashuram here. So these are all in the Vaikuntha planets, or the petals of the lotus. And here you have the second quadruple expansion of Vasudev, Pradyumna, Mahasankarshan, and Aniruddha. Then here you have Kailasha, where Lord Shiva is residing. So Lord Shiva, and here the material realm begins in the Karana ocean. Here which says Karana ocean is the material realm. So he is between, Lord Shiva is between the spiritual and the material. If you see.
And Mataji, what is this line with Parvati Devi, or like what is that Parvati? Brahmananda?
Where is Parvati?
On the, like, on your right hand side, like there is like, yeah, right there, yeah.
Yeah, these are coming from. Okay, so we see here Sri Radha. The female expansions are coming from her.
Okay.
So this line here, then you see here Mahalakshmi Devi and billions of other Lakshmis. So all the Lakshmis are actually expansions of Srimati Radharani. That's why Radha is called as Sarva Lakshmi. One of Radharani's names is Sarva Lakshmi because she is the expansion of Lakshmi. I'm sorry, Lakshmi, all the Lakshmis are expansions of her. I'm sorry. She is not an expansion, but Lakshmi, all the Lakshmis are expansions of Srimati Radharani. So here, that's why you have Parvati. So these are the female expansion on the right hand side.
One more question I have. So, suppose like during the cycle of this going from one loka to another, are the people confined to that particular universe, or only confined to that particular universe, or is it possible to?
No, they can take birth anywhere in the material realm. They can go to any universe, anywhere in the material realm.
Anyway, okay.
Mataji, Sri Narad Muni always, travels to different dimensions or like lokas, right? I mean, how does he have that power to like go anywhere he wants?
Because that's the boon he has received. He has received a boon that he can travel anywhere in the world. In fact, I think it was a curse. If I'm not sure, I think Lord Brahma only cursed him that he cannot stay in one place for more than a certain period of time. Radhika Kasturi, are you there? Can you shed light on this? Do you know?
Daksha Prajapati was the one who cursed because his sons, Narada Muni actually made his sons to perform austerities, which Daksha did not like, because obviously he wanted progeny to be, Daksha wanted his his sons to progenate, but Narada Muni involved them in austerities and penances. And since he did not like them being involved in this penance and austerities, Daksha Prajapati, he cursed Narada Muni that he can't stay in one place. And that is how he's traveling all over the world with his Veena.
Okay, thank you. So Daksha is the father of Sati, right? The father-in-law of Lord Shiva.
Correct, Mataji.
Okay. So because Narada Muni preached to his sons and he made them devotees, he was cursed that you will not stay for more than a certain period of time in one place. And that's how he's traveling. Okay. So that's Narada Muni. What else?
Is it possible for us to become like a demigod? Because I think previously you mentioned that we all were Brahma once.
Yeah, the first body that we receive, Prabhupada says in a purport that the first body we receive is that of Lord Brahma. And all the demigods are posts. So one can take over, become a demigod if we are qualified for the post. For example, to become Lord Brahma, the qualification is we have to live 100 lifetimes by perfectly executing the Varnasram Dharma. So if we qualify for it, then we can take up the post of a demigod.
Okay.
But even the demigods, their life comes to an end.
Right.
So can we exit this picture?
Mataji, 1 minute, because there I see Lord Ganesha there. Lord Ganesha is like the purest, like Devi Parvati's son, right? Like, how can he be demigod?
Yeah, Ganesha is a demigod. What do you think he is? Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
No, what I mean is, why is he in that Swargaloka?
Because he is a demigod.
But it shouldn't he be with Mata Parvati and Lord Shiva?
He should be with his parents?
That's a rough question.
The demigods reside in Swargaloka. Of course, we have to understand that the demigods are very, very elevated personalities. Just because Ganesh is in Swargaloka, that doesn't mean that he is not an elevated personality. All the demigods are very, very highly elevated personalities. That's why they are there. They are not ordinary souls. They are elevated personalities. Okay. But they are, demigods are administrators of the universe. Just as how the president of the country has his ministers, we have a labor minister, we have an external affairs minister, we may have a what do you call it, a minister for law and order. So like that, we have a finance minister, right? So like that, these demigods are different administrators of the universe. So they carry out different, they take care of different departments in the material realm. So who's the finance minister? Lakshmi Devi is a finance minister. Who's the education minister? Saraswati is the education minister. So like that, there are different ministries, different departments, and these demigods take care of different departments.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Can we exit the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to our slide. So which is the best place to be in? If we are to be in the 14 planetary systems, if we are to be in the material realm, which is the best place to be in?
With Krishna.
No, but if we are in the 14 planetary systems, of course, the best place is to be with
Satyaloka.
Krishna in the spiritual realm. But here, as long as we are in the material realm, which is the best planet to reside in?
Satyaloka.
Bhurloka.
Why?
Because here you can accumulate karma, good as well as bad. So if you accumulate, you'll all good karmas, you'll adding to your good karmas, and you're also serving the Lord at the same time.
Yes, so that's right. Let's read this quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Aditya? Aditya, are you here?
Isn't Varun supposed to read this or I?
Yeah, Varun. Yeah.
Okay. Which is the best place to be in? SB 5/13/21. King Gana said, "This birth as a human being is the best of all. Herein birth among the demigods in the heavenly planets is not as glorious as birth as a human being on the earth. What is the use of the exalted position of a demigod? In the heavenly planets, due to profuse material comforts, there is no possibility of associating with devotees."
Okay, so the best place to be here is in the Bhurloka. Okay. So the world is a station, not a destination. Now, if we are traveling to a particular destination in the train passes through so many stations, isn't it? Now we have to pass through those stations because those stations will take us to our destination. But if we get off at a station and we make that station our place of residence, then we have forgotten that actually we were headed to another destination. So while we are passing through these 14 planetary systems, we have to remember that this is not our permanent place to stay. We should not make ourselves comfortable here, right? We have to pass through these different places because our goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. Let's not mistake the station to be a destination. 33.
अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Translation?
Okay. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
So now Krishna, in this verse and the following verses, he is going to talk about the losses that Arjuna is going to incur by not fighting. What did he say previously? What is he going to gain? He is going to gain the heavenly planet if he fights. And now Krishna is going to talk about what he is going to lose. So he's saying that you will lose your reputation as a fighter and you will incur sins. 34.
Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtim maranadatirichyate.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Here, what is the second loss? He's saying that people will speak of your infamy, akirti, and you will be dishonored. For a Kshatriya, for a respectable person, Krishna is saying dishonor is worse than death. Can you think of instances in the Mahabharata where somebody deserved to die, but was not killed, was let to live, but was dishonored before letting him continue to live? Can you think of such instances in the Mahabharata?
Jayadratha.
Jayadratha, yes. Why did Jayadratha deserve to be killed?
When he wanted to for Draupadi, no? When he wanted to insult Draupadi.
Yeah, he wanted to kidnap Draupadi, and we saw that one who kidnaps another's wife is one of the 6 offenders. So yes, he could be killed, but then because he is the husband of Dushala, Dushala was the sister of Duryodhan, the Pandavas did not want to kill him, but they dishonored him. They shaved off his head and before letting him leave. So for a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. Any other incidents?
Ashwatthama.
Ashwatthama, when was that?
When he killed the sleeping sons of Pandavas, thinking that they are the Pandavas, and he was when he sent the Brahmastra to kill the baby in the womb, and Lord Krishna was like super mad, and he took away his the gem that he had and said he was cursed, you roam the earth.
So yes, even Ashwatthama deserved to be killed because he killed the sons of Draupadi when they were sleeping, right? Even Krishna said that, yes, kill him. As a side note, who was the only one who did not want to kill him at that time? Who was
Draupadi.
the one who said? Draupadi, yes. Draupadi was the one who said that don't kill him. What was Draupadi's reason?
That he is a Guru's son.
Yes, because he is the Guru's son. And second reason?
He's a Brahman.
Okay, one more thing she says.
That her sons are not going to live, right?
Can I go, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, Vrunda.
Dandat Pranam. Mataji, the mother will feel the another mother's pain, so she don't want to kill Ashwatthama.
Yes, exactly. Draupadi felt that Ashwatthama's mother has already lost her husband, right? But now if even the son is going to be killed, then she's going to be all alone. And Draupadi felt compassion for Ashwatthama's mother. That's why she said that please do not kill Ashwatthama. So that shows even how Draupadi, she's her nature, because of her compassionate nature, although her 5 sons were ruthlessly killed in their sleep, still she was ready to forgive Ashwatthama. But they did dishonor Ashwatthama. How did they dishonor Ashwatthama before they let him live?
I think they took away the money that he had on his forehead and
Yes, exactly. So he was born with a gem, so that gem was taken away before they let him live. So now Krishna is talking about dishonor is worse than death. Is dishonor the same thing as pride?
No.
No.
Okay, let's read these quotes. Are you there, Varun?
Aditya, you can
Oh yeah,
read.
sorry. If the whole world glorifies me, but Krishna does not recognize me, what is the use of the glorification? The whole world spits at me, but Krishna recognizes me, and who cares about that spitting? Srila Prabhupada Saraswati. Should I read the next thing?
Yes, please.
Okay. Trinadapi Sunichena Taro Eva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself Lord on the straw in the street. With straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can only chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Okay, so in the first quote, this personality, Prabodhananda Saraswati, he received personal association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is talking about how he doesn't care if the world does not recognize him. He's only concerned about Krishna recognizing him. And on the other side, the Shikshastakam verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the only thing that he left in writing were 8 stanzas or 8 prayers, and they are called as a Shikshastakam. Okay, Shiksha means knowledge and Ashtaka means 8. So there are 8 stanzas of knowledge or 8 prayers he left behind. And in the third Shikshastakam prayer, he talks about, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about how we should be humble and we have to be lower than the straw in the street. Now, Krishna is talking about protecting honor. And on the other side, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about humility. So are these two things contrary to each other? Are they contradicting each other? What is the opposite of humility? Is the opposite of humility honor? What is the opposite of humility?
Pride.
Pride, yes. The opposite of humility is pride. So actually, they are not talking about opposite things. The opposite of humility is pride. So when humility increases, automatically the pride reduces, or vice versa. But humility and honor, they go hand in hand. Let us read what is humility and what is honor. Aditya, Steve Jago.
This is Varun. It's not translation.
Okay, if he's delaying, you can start.
Okay. By cultivating humility, we make decisions based on not what will be praised as good, but what will actually be good as per scripture. By cultivating honor, we ensure that we stick to our word and our duty even when it's difficult.
So cultivating honor means we stick to our word and duty when it is difficult. So let's say, for example, somebody has taken a vow, right, to the spiritual master. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. And now he finds himself at this party. He's been invited to a wedding where there is nothing without onion, garlic, there is no prasad, and he is forced to eat food. So now, is he going to ensure that he sticks to the vow that he made to his spiritual master, or is he going to, because he's feeling very hungry, he's just going to eat some dal and rice, although the dal has some garlic in it, right? So what is he going to do? So cultivating honor means we stick to our word and duty even when it is difficult. So Chaitanya Charan, he explains that how living honorably or how sticking to one's honor can actually lead to humility. How is that? Living honorably means there is some struggle. It's not going to be easy, as we discussed. It's swimming opposite the current, right? So when we struggle, then we realize how weak we are. And in our weakness, we learn to depend on the Lord. And depending on the Lord makes us humble. So actually, Honor can lead to humility. So cultivating humility does not mean that we have to solicit dishonor. 35. Sorry, yes.
Sorry, I had a question. So, like, what if it troubles someone? Like, for example, you gave the example of a party, right? So, if somebody, because of we not eating onion and garlic, somebody has to, go above and beyond and make a different food for us. So, is it right to trouble someone like that?
No, why are you troubling? You didn't ask the person to invite you. That person has invited you. And if the person loves you and respects you, then he will respect your choices.
Yes.
So Komal agrees to that.
Yeah, I have gone to restaurants where they prepare special meals for me.
Yeah, and in fact, because you are a devotee and they are preparing special meals for you, probably they will prepare the whole meal without onion and garlic, saying that, okay, let's just make everything without onion and garlic. And because of you, everybody eats prasad. That also can happen, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And looking at you eating without onion and garlic, there may be somebody else who gets inspired in the party and says, oh, look at Shreya. She's eating only sattvic. She eats only prasad. Oh, I feel so inspired that she's sticking to her honor even in times of difficulty. I want to be like Shreya. So you just by setting an example, you are preaching to somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
And if somebody thinks it's a trouble, then they don't invite you. That's all. It's as simple as that.
No, I'm like telling from my experience, like some of like aged people, they don't eat that, right? So so when we go to family gatherings, they like people say that they are so troublesome that we need to prepare another meal for them. So that's the reason I'm asking.
Okay, so if it's a trouble, then you don't eat, then you just fast. That's all. You come home and you prepare your prasad.
Or you take food.
Or you take food. No, the thing is, Komal, the Indian social structure is such, no, that if you take your food and go, they will say, oh, she's insulting us. We are invited her, but she's brought a food. So then they feel insulted. Indians are very complicated, you know.
I don't have many Indian friends.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yep, that's how it is.
No, my husband does sometimes have problems with these things, but then he opts for, can I have a fruit or something or a salad? So the raw things are the safest, like you know what you're putting in there on the plate there.
Yes.
True,
Yeah. You can always opt for fruits and salad, correct?
Should be easier for Indians to understand.
And he usually works his way through. Then we've been to places where they don't serve anything else, so we say, can we have a fruit platter or something, and that makes it through the day. Like nobody feels offended. We are also keeping to what we have to eat without any hassles.
Yeah.
Okay. So did we do? We have to do 35.
Should I read the translation?
भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
Now, yes.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus will consider you insignificant.
So what Krishna is saying here, that these Maharathis, these great generals, what are they going to think? They have highly esteemed you, right? Because Arjuna has performed some great feats before this. He has gone to the heavenly planets. He was the only one who won the Swayamvar of Draupadi. And he fought with Lord Shiva and he got his weapon from him. So like that, Arjuna has done so many wonderful acts. But now what they will think? They will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear. So they will think that you have run away from the battlefield. They are not going to think that you have been compassionate and because of your good nature, you have left the battlefield. They will think that you have run away from the battlefield. they will think that they will not think that you have walked away from the problem. Remember, previously we have discussed this, walking away from a problem versus running away from a problem. So they will not think that you have walked away, they will think that you have run away. So this in psychology is called as attributional error. If I do something good, then it's because I worked hard for it. If somebody else does something good, oh, that was just luck favoring him, right? So that is called as attributional error. For example, if I get very good marks in my exam, I studied very well. That's how I got good marks. If somebody else get good marks, oh no, the question paper was very easy. That's why the person got good marks. So this is general human psychology. And that's what people are going to think about Arjuna. They are going to think that he was, it's because of his positive nature, they will think that he ran away. So what is it that we learn from this attributional error? Let's read this text.
Okay. Attributional error. Lessons to be learned. We should not attribute motivation to actions by default without understanding circumstances. Learn to give benefit of doubt to others. Our actions should be exemplary. When we behave unusually, we have to explain why we are acting in a particular way.
So what do we as devotees, we learn? First of all, if we see somebody else doing something that appears incorrect, then we learn to give the benefit of doubt to the others. And in our own case, we don't behave in any way that will create a doubt in somebody else's mind. And even if we behave in an unusual way, then we have to explain ourselves so that other people do not misunderstand us. This is what we learn as devotees from this aspect. So this you can read online, offline, when I share it in the group, because we are running short of time. So which bird is this on the right side of your screen?
Ostrich?
Ostrich. What does an ostrich do when an ostrich sees problems or sees danger?
Buries his head under the ground.
Yes. So is the ostrich running away from the problem or walking away from the problem?
Hiding away, I would
Hiding.
say.
Yeah, no. Walking away versus running away. What is he doing? Running away from the problem, isn't it? So running away from a problem does not solve the problem for us. The problem still stands. Okay. 2.36.
अवाच्यवादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
So this is the third loss that Krishna is mentioning. He's saying that you will be ridiculed by your enemies. So this is the third reason. He's saying that the enemies will make a mockery of your abilities. So what were the three reasons? First, Krishna said that you will become infamous. Then he said that you will be dishonored. And now he's saying that you will be ridiculed. The three losses that Arjuna will face if he does not fight the war.
अतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
So if you remember in the previous chapter, we saw how Arjuna said that he is in a lose-lose situation. Whether he wins or he loses, Arjuna said that anyway, he's going to lose either way, right? So he was in a lose-lose situation. We saw this in chapter 1. But here Krishna very intelligently has changed Arjuna's lose-lose situation to a win-win situation. So Krishna says that even if you win and you live, you are going to conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. because he's a part of the royal family. And if you lose and you die also, then you will attain the heavenly planets. So either way, he is going to win. So Krishna has changed Arjuna's lose-lose situation into a win-win situation.
Okay, should I?
And therefore, here we see the first step of the yoga ladder in this section. Krishna talks about winning the war and attaining the heavenly planets. So that is called as the karma kanda. Karma kanda means regulated sense gratification. Regulated means, yes, the goal is to enjoy my senses. The goal is to enjoy unlimitedly in the heavenly planets. There is no question here of wanting to please the Lord, right? But they do it under the because it is regulated, it is under the umbrella of the Shastra. The initial part of the Vedas deal with all karma kanda activities. So there are yagyas in the Shastra that are given, okay, you do this yagya, then you are allowed to do this. For example, there is a yagya prescribed in the Vedas that allows you to have alcohol also, right? So that drinking alcohol after doing the yagya is permitted by Shastra. So that is the karma kanda. Although it is under the Shastric umbrella, still, because the goal is my own sense gratification, it is low in the yoga ladder. As we proceed higher and higher, we see how the spiritual one's spiritual understanding increases as we go higher in the yoga ladder. But here, Krishna has spoken about on the Karma Kanda platform, where he's talking about Arjuna enjoying in the heavenly planets. In the next section, Krishna goes higher in the ladder, and that we will see in the next section of the next class. Okay, so we'll stop here for today.
Okay. Do I have to read that?
No, that we'll do in the next class.
Okay.
So what do we have to discuss? So I was just thinking that, so far I had these videos as private videos on YouTube, and only those with the link could see the videos. But now these videos I have made them public so that more people can benefit. So does anybody have a problem if I record them and you are on camera and it's on YouTube? Does anybody have a problem or issue with that?
Thank you.
No.
Is it okay for everybody? And it's my duty to inform. So it's okay for those who have your cameras on?
Yeah, no issues.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
no issues. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I mentioned that the last video shared was of the different class, not our class.
Yeah, what I do is, because I have 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the evening, I upload only one of the 2 on YouTube. So whichever class I feel was not so bad, then that I upload, and the content is the same.
I in fact enjoyed that video because I felt the questions asked in that class were very interesting and got to learn quite a bit with those questions. It was like very, very interesting a class, the way they interacted.
Okay.
So I'm happy. In a way, it's good because as it is, we are attending here in person. So when you get to hear the questions of the other slot, it benefits, I feel.
Okay. So yeah, some are from slot 2, some are from slot 1. It's a mixed bag. So in the class where I feel that I was so pathetic and I was not able to deal with the questions properly, that I don't upload it on YouTube because I want to save my honor.
That is not possible.
So yeah, but the content is the same. Always both the slots are on the same level.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's nice to see Divya back. We were missing you for 3 weeks. I was worried. I thought I lost you forever.
No, Mataji, actually, I was not well 1 week. A whole weekend I thought I had COVID, but thankfully it was just a cold.
Okay.
So this weekend I had to travel for personal reasons, so I could not. So my brother, I think, communicated that.
Okay, okay. No, because the last class that you attended, you asked a question on if somebody is a non-vegetarian, but they are good people, then what happens to them? So I thought maybe you didn't like the answer to that and I lost you or something like that. I was telling others.
No, Mataji. See, for me, that's not the thing, right? There are different perceptions, us being especially me being in a different country. And I think we're same with most of the folks on the call. The perception is very different. When I go back to India, it's not the same. They are very modernized, and I feel so like out of sync. I feel like I'm like some old lady, like, some like from some 1800s or 1700s, because they're like, do you believe in all this? And I'm like, I don't talk, right? But one's belief and perception, I just keep it to myself. And but I'm so glad to have my brother introduce me to this, because Lord Krishna is my Ishta Devata.
Okay. You know what is your brother? What do we call your brother here in Santiago? Did he ever tell you?
No.
We call him Mr. Bhakti Shastri.
See, he doesn't tell me all that.
Yeah.
Oh, Bhakti Shastri, sorry.
Adarsh.
Okay.
Yes,
We call him Mr.
used
Bhakti Shastri because pre-COVID days, whenever we would see him, he would be listening to Bhakti Shastri classes. Even in the mall, once I saw him with the headphones and he was listening to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's Bhakti Shastri class. So because he was so glued to it, we would call him Mr. Bhakti Shastri.
Okay.
Yeah, no, when I got into this, I was thinking like, what did I get myself into, like the first class? Then we started talking about Lord Krishna. I think there is nothing better. We waste away time just watching TV and doing all different things. So this is my 2 hours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Okay, what else?
Can I just say a comment regarding? So I'm vegan. I was vegetarian, and I have friends who are American or Chilean or from California that are 15-year-olds or 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds that are vegan and vegetarians. So I don't think it's something of an old person. I would say it's something of a new generation. There are more vegans and vegetarians now in the Western world than before.
Yes, but the conception in India is different. When you go to India and you tell them that you're vegetarian, you're a vegan, and you're religious or you're spiritual, then they look at you as, for them, spirituality is only for the old people. In India, the conception is like that in Indian families. So veganism is like esta de moda, they say, no? It's a fashion thing now in the West.
No, it's something about the environment and looking after planet Earth.
I have my younger son who was
It's
saying
not a fashion. It's because we care about the world. And my friends care about the environment, and we recycle. And we don't want the fish to suffer with plastic in the sea. So it's about looking after planet Earth, Prakriti.
Okay. So this thing has caught up in the Western culture. It's not so much in India.
Yeah.
I don't
My
think
younger
so.
one, he
People
was
are
staying
vegan.
alone in Santiago, and about 2 years back, he suddenly calls me one day and he says, I'm thinking of getting vegetarian, but I don't know whether I can survive because I have to survive by myself in the university and out. I started sending him videos and links and what he could do to the visual every day, literally, to encourage him. After 15 days, he said, okay, now I need some recipes to get vegetarian so I can cook by myself. So there were times, but his reasons were like that, what Komal just said, to save the planet and not harm the thing. But I was happy, whichever way he takes it, at least thinking for the planet was good enough.
Yeah. But we have to go beyond thinking about the planet, and we have to instead of eating vegetarian or vegan, we have to learn to eat prasad. Yeah. So we are not vegetarians or vegans, we are Krishnatarians. So transcendental food, even if it is vegetarian or vegan food, it is not free from karma. Yes. If we don't offer the food, that food still has some karma, because so many living entities have lost their lives in the cooking of that food, isn't it? So we should not be proud of being vegetarian or vegan. We should be proud of being Krishnatarians or Prasadarians. So that is a spiritual understanding. So because somebody is like your son is a vegetarian, you can now teach him. At least before you eat your food, you can say Om Shri Vishnu 3 times. Of course, we offer with different mantras. There is a whole process. But for a beginner, at least we begin by saying Om Shri Vishnu 3 times before we consume the food. Right? At least that. Or you say Krishna Arpanam 3 times. Then slowly we can go to the next step of reciting the Sanskrit prayers and offering it the way we usually do. So before eating, he can say Krishna Arpanam.
I'll do that, yes.
Or Om Shri Vishnu. Okay. What else?
Thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome.
I had a question. So, like, can we go to so if we are in the heavenly planets, we say that it's like we are bound to fall down, but can we practice Krishna consciousness when in the heavenly planets and go to Vaikuntha?
Yeah, my understanding is that from the Brahma Loka, we can go to the spiritual realm. And because in the other planetary system, there are sages, there is some piousness, one can get an upgrade. But to go to the spiritual world, my understanding is that from Brahma Loka, you can go to the spiritual realm. Is Radhika Kasturi, can you shed light on this?
Mataji, you're right actually. Brahmaloka, you can, because when in Satyaloka, if you perfect, then you get a chance to become a pure devotee of the Lord. But other heavenly realms, if you look at it, there is a destruction that could happen, annihilation could happen, and during Brahma's day and night. Even Brahma's Loka is not spared that way. But as Mataji said, I also believe that Brahmaloka is a place where you can become a pure devotee of the Lord, that is Satyaloka. But others, Mataji, but still I definitely need the clarification. I can look back into it because Makarloka, Tapaloka, if you look at it, the Brahma, the four Kumaras and all that, right? I mean, they are in the. So we definitely, I need to look back and get back to you, Mataji, if that's okay.
No, sure. Thank you so much.
No, from the other lokas, you can get an upgrade, but not go to the spiritual realm, is what I'm saying. From the Brahma Loka, you can go to the spiritual realm.
Got it. That makes sense.
Mataji, I had a question. So, because we are talking about, Vaikuntha Loka, and this is one of the, after somebody's passing away, like or on the, I think the 11th or 13th day, they do some kind of Samaradhan, and they call it Vaikuntha Samaradhan. Is the aspiration that when we do this rituals, that particular person's soul, let it, get elevated so that they can be able to pass through all those different dimensions or lokas?
Yeah, in some cultures it says 10 days, some cultures it says 13 days, 11 days, 9 days. It takes that certain period of time for the soul to reach its destination. That's the reason why that for that number of days that, we do the daily reading. Some people, they read the Bhagavad Gita, some people read the Bhagavatam for those 10, 11, 13 days, whatever it is.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
All these details are there in the Garud Puran, I think so.
I think you had shared 2 videos, Mataji.
Yes. There are these videos on YouTube by this devotee, and he explains the journey of the soul after death. Yes, he says how
soul travels.
Yeah. Yes. Do you have those videos, Adarsh? Still, I lost them.
Yeah, I think I have. I'll just try to forward those.
Okay, please share it in the group. So he goes into great detail to explain the journey of the soul after death.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Have to go now.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much, and see you all in the next class. Krishna Valim. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai God Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam for your assistance. Thank you, Mataji. Feel that Jai Pataka Maharaj is taking class. That much potency in the class, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Jai.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.